Dr. Cinema here, and it's 4/26. Happy Alien Day. The Alien franchise has a soft spot in my heart, which is just this. So, I figured, time to do some alien stuff. Seeing as how a couple of my earliest videos talked about two of the famous films of the Alien franchise, today I think it's time to focus on some of the less loved ones. That's a bad way of putting it, but the thing is, I'm going to focus on some of the more recent installments of the Alien franchise. There are going to be 3 videos with me talking about something xenomorph related. This video, I'm talking about Alien vs. Predator going up against Freddy vs. Jason. So, let's do this. 5 rounds. Round 1, story. Story of Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy has pretty much been forgotten about in the hometown of Springwood, so he decides to raise Jason up from the dead, kill some people, get people afraid of him so he can gain back some power, loses control of Jason, so he decides to try to take down Jason for good. Alien vs. Predator is that bunch of human people to go check out this temple in the South Pole. Turns out it's a predator temple with some xenomorph eggs and a queen. A couple of predators come down to Earth, go through some sort of rite of passage, and we've got a lot of action. Now, the Alien vs. Predator film, the story, it's non-canon to both franchises, but it wasn't really clear at the time, so people were confused of how this was all sort of happening within the timelines of both films. So that was really kind of confusing for a lot of people. Granted, it's not always easy to put Freddy vs. Jason in either timeline for their respective franchises, but Friday the 13th Part 8 was apparently supposed to take place in 2001, despite being released in the early 1980s. So that franchise always has some timeline issues. But since that film is actually canon to both of those franchises, it is a little bit more cohesive. So this round goes to Freddy vs. Jason. Let's go on to round 2. The human characters. Honestly, if you put a gun up to my head, I would not be able to tell you a name of any of these human characters from either film. With Freddy vs. Jason, it's just a bunch of stupid, stereotypical teenagers that just kind of bug me, but not really, because unfortunately, that's sort of expected from both of those horror franchises. Forgettable human, stereotypical characters. Human characters from AVP, most of them don't really leave an impression. However, the couple that do actually give this an advantage. I mean, the main human character of AVP is supposed to be this, how do I describe her? Adventure guide person. She's a woman that does a lot of cool stuff like climbing actual mountains and traveling in the wild. She plays Blade's mother from the film Blade, so you can look her up. And of course you have Waylon Bishop, I think that's his name. And those couple of human characters leave more of an impression on me in this film, which is more than I can say for Freddy vs. Jason. So this one goes to AVP. Now let's go on to round 3, action. Now normally I put action and special effects together as one round, but since both of these crossovers focus on their main stars fighting against each other, it made sense to make action its own round. The action of AVP, there's more of it in this film in terms of screen time than Freddy vs. Jason. However, the action of AVP gets off to a little bit of a rocky start. I mean, we got the Predators killing off characters that weren't even considered main characters. And for the first half, the action kind of switches between shaky cam, where you can't really tell what's going on, and between actual good shots of action. And the action does, for the most part, actually get pretty good in the last half of the film, but it gets off to a really rocky start at the beginning. Now, while there may be less action in terms of screen time in Freddy vs. Jason, all of it is actually really fun to watch, even if it is a little bit silly. I mean, you've got Jason taking Freddy, smashing him through all these windows, Freddy firing oxygen tanks at Jason as torpedoes. It's all really fun. No shaky cam, and you can actually tell what's going on, all of it, as opposed to the little bit of rocky start of AVP. And the action in these films are different in terms of tone because AVP was PG-13. Even though it got away with a little bit, it wasn't allowed to stay true to the tone of the other franchises. Freddy vs. Jason was R, so it actually was able to do its own thing, as it should. So this round goes to Freddy vs. Jason. Round 4, Special Effects. Special effects are probably what you would expect from Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy is still practical makeup, which is good. You still got the practical stuff in terms of Jason. And you still got the special effects when it comes to the dream sequences and as such. Although the dream sequences aren't as impressive as some of the earlier Elm Street films. Special effects of AVP, a large chunk of it is actually practical, which is really good. I mean, you've got the first shot of the alien queen as practical effects, which is amazing. You've got practical effects using a good chunk of the actual action. And while there is definitely CGI in this film, it's not really overwhelming or that, focused on. So, I'm going to give this round to AVP. 2-2 tie. Time for round 5. Atmosphere of the film. Freddy vs. Jason was R, like I already said, and AVP was PG-13, so already there's a little bit of a disadvantage. However, going back to Freddy vs. Jason, while the action is fun and some of the stuff may be silly, that is par for the course for both of those respected franchises. However, there is a lot of boring and stupid stuff in that film, which is unfortunately also what you come to expect from those franchises. So, while it is fun to watch, it's not really the most well-respected of either franchise. Now, AVP is not really the most well-respected of either of its respective franchises, but the atmosphere is actually really well done, especially in the second half. While the first half, like I said, may have a little bit of a rocky start, the second half really starts to become quite good once you take out most of the dialogue. Like, the second half takes out a lot of dialogue, focuses on one human character and the other alien creatures, which is actually a really well done visual film. It's amazing how well that actually works out. So, this round goes to AVP. The match goes to Alien vs. Predator. Now, this concludes the first of 3 videos dealing with the Alien franchise. So comment down below, like, subscribe, share, come back later today for the other 2 videos, and hopefully I'll see you next